because The View is live. Change of heart. Comedian Kevin Hart steps down as host of the Oscars after anti-gay tweets come back to haunt him. How does outgoing Congresswoman Mia Love feel about President Trump saying he could have saved her from losing in the midterms?
Mia Love gave me no love, and she lost.
She's talking back live on The View. And Christmas is coming early when American Idol alums Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard reunite on our stage. Plus, we're finding out if the co-hosts have any shocking hidden secrets from their past.
Funny you should ask.
Let's get this party started with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Meghan McCain, and Anna Navarro. Now, let's get things started.
Welcome to The View. The Oscars are looking for a new host this morning because just 2 days after they asked Kevin Hart to do it, he stepped down after anti-gay tweets from his past emerged. Here's what he said about it yesterday. Watch.
So I just got a call from the Academy, and that call basically said, Kevin, apologize for your tweets of old, or we're going to have to move on and find another host. Talking about the tweets from 2009, 2010. I chose to pass. I passed on the apology. The reason why I passed is because I've addressed this several times. Regardless, Academy, I'm thankful and appreciative of the opportunity. If it goes away, no harm, no foul.
Eventually, he did apologize, and he said he's bowing out, so he's not a distraction on a night that's supposed to celebrate artists. He said he's sorry for this before. He has. He's apologized before. Yeah. So how many times does he need to apologize, do you think? Or is he cooked? What's the story here?
Well, sometimes you got to eat some crow before you get your dream job, right? He said this is like a dream come true for him to do. So my biggest issue, besides the tweets, which we will not read on the show, but if you'd like to go see just how terrible and vulgar and homophobic they are, go right ahead, but I would warn you. My biggest issue was his non-apology apology. I mean, why not use this as a platform to go out there and speak to one of the biggest audiences you have in the year on television?
Right, so you think he should have gone ahead?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
use
Chris
it.
Rock used it one time, yeah.
That's my opinion.
Look, you know, the Oscars and a lot of award shows, particularly lately since Trump has been president, have been a platform for Hollywood to criticize this president for discrimination, for racism, and for homophobia. So I do think that they are, and they should be held up to a higher standard if they are going to have that standing of then, you know, pointing a finger at others. At the same time, I think you got to let people and give people a chance to evolve. In 2009, gay marriage was not legal. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, nobody was pro-gay marriage except I think you and me, you know, on the Republican Party.
That's different from homophobic remarks.
Right, but listen, there has been such a perception change, a social change, the largest in our lifetime regarding gay rights, gay marriage, equality, LGBTQ in the last 10 years that we have seen. I think a lot of people have evolved, and we got to give them the chance to do that.
And he has apologized for it before. The problem that I have with it is sort of, and I think, Meghan, you agree, this kind of mob mentality that we're seeing, these forced apologies. You know, everybody's sort of jumping on the bandwagon, not allowing people to evolve, not allowing people to own up to things. I think what was so weird to me was he has apologized for this before.
Yeah.
And for the Academy to then force him to apologize again, I don't understand that. And there has been this mob now that's saying, you know, he's a horrible person, and the tweets were despicable. But when is an apology enough?
Go ahead.
No, I obviously agree that the tweets are abhorrent. I'm an LGBT advocate, as were you early on, Anna.
We all are.
This whole thing was.
Yeah, but but in the Republican Party, that was very rare when Meghan and I signed an amicus brief, you know, in support of gay marriage. Only 100 Republicans did so. We were among them.
Yes. So we get that out of the way that we all support and love the LGBT community.
Yeah.
I will say Kevin Hart's a huge star. I mean, he was in Night School, Jumanji, Ride Along. He's a big movie star right now. So I'd never heard of these tweets before. I actually didn't know of the homophobic tweets that he had sent out before, but I also am against mob mentality stuff, and I also am not sure where the goalpost is. Joy Reid, who hosts a show on MSNBC, had blog posts from the same time, 2007 to 2009, saying homophobic stuff about Governor Charlie Crist, my father, Lindsey Graham. She still has a show on MSNBC. Tracy Morgan went on a homophobic rant in 2011. He kept his job on 30 Rock. James Gunn removed from a director of Guardians of the Galaxy after old tweets.
So maybe it's the Oscars. It's on ABC TV.
Maybe it's the Oscars.
It's our network, which is a squeaky clean network.
But you can't be someone
that
watches. You can't be someone that, to your point, that watches Joy Reid and is one of her big fans, and also be part of this mob mentality and be out there tweeting against Kevin Hart.
And those people, they've all apologized, right? Have they all apologized?
I don't know.
I remember Joy Reid coming out and saying,
that's a really complicated issue. She also said someone hacked into her blog, and then they had a dialogue into it, which they said
she did
not find.
But ultimately, I believe, and I could be wrong. Control room, please let me know if I am. She apologized and said, I have an evolved.
She has a history of being pro-gay, though.
No, I think there's a silver lining to all of this, and it's that we are talking about it, and we need to continue talking about it. Because the hate crimes have jumped up so much. The bullying against LGBTQ, the suicides by LGBTQ kids is so high that it's something we need to keep being more sensitive about.
These people need to stop making homophobic remarks, including Kevin Hart. But if they want somebody who's... Thank you. We all agree on that.
Yeah.
You know, but if you want somebody squeaky clean, you're going to have to get a mime at the Oscars, because everybody has something, especially comedians.
What happens now? Like, I'm sorry, you're going to a commercial break.
No, go ahead.
Who is...
they're in a bind.
Everybody has a past on social media.
Well, there's that historian that they're getting for the White House correspondent.
And Hugh Jackman.
Oh, yes, that's a good point. We're going to have historians doing everything.
This is, again, we said this the other day. This is another cautionary tale to mothers. Watch your kids, what they do online, what they do on social media. When they're running for the Supreme Court, they're not going to be happy. When we come back, we're talking about the Catholic Church that put baby Jesus in a cage in their nativity scene this year. We'll be right back.
He's New York's former mayor, a billionaire, and maybe running for president in 2020? Well, hold on, because Monday, Michael Bloomberg faces the women of The View. Plus, look who else is hitting the table. Aaron Sorkin, Ken Jeong, Leah Remini, Armie Hammer, Felicity Jones, Leslie Mann, and oh wait, did I mention Jennifer Lopez? Yes! Jennifer will be here Wednesday. And it wouldn't be Happy Holidays at The View without Darlene Love. Plus special guest Bryan Adams. Next week on The View on ABC. Later, outgoing Republican Congresswoman Mia Love on her war of words with the president. Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard reunite on our stage. And we're unlocking the hidden past of our co-hosts.
Welcome back. So, a Catholic church in Massachusetts is causing a lot of controversy for their nativity scene this year. The pastor said he wanted to depict what's happening at America's border right now. So he put the three wise men behind a wall and the baby Jesus in a cage, like the recent photos we've seen of migrant children at the border. So is a nativity scene the place for a political statement, or is it effective? What would you say, my dears?
I'm not a fan of safe spaces to begin with, but can we have one for Jesus? Like, I'm sorry, I've been very outspoken on children and families being separated at the border. This, to me, feels very wrong. And I think there should be a place where you can see a nativity scene and go to your church, and there's a place where we can talk politics, like right here at this table, and really anywhere else you want to go, and have those real debates, and people can voice their opinions. That's what this country's all about. But Jesus didn't do anything wrong. He's not a part of this.
He was a refugee, just like Mary and Joseph. And is there any better way to protest that than for the Catholic Church, which really is rising to the occasion in many ways, because all they can do is vote, also, like the rest of us.
Well, I was very conflicted about it when I saw this, you know, nobody wants to see the baby Jesus in a cage. But I will tell you this, I think the Catholic Church oftentimes doesn't do enough when it comes to current issues. And I know when I go to my church, you know, sometimes the homily is just so bland, and he never ties in current events with the homily. And I'll never forget, I went to church right after the Sandy Hook shooting. The priest never mentioned it. And I stopped going to that particular church because I want guidance in terms of faith and what it's going on in our world today, because it's so divisive, and I want the guidance from the church. And so when I look at this, you know, it shook me up incredibly. But maybe this is the right thing to do. Maybe people need to be shaken up, because look at what is happening to children and families at the border.
I know.
It is despicable. There are still children separated, over 5,000, from their families. Still.
But
And
don't
really
we have
here.
Don't we have separation of church and state for a reason, though?
This is my. Then it's again. It's each. We cherry pick what we want when we want it. Do you want separation of church and state? Do you want separation of religion and politics, or do you want it all to be one thing? Me personally, I like the separation of church and state. You can go to any church, worship,
argument.
whatever.
That's a good argument.
You can go to any church, worship in whichever way you want. I also think the Catholic Church has a lot of scandals on its own that it hasn't taken care of about pedophilia and things that they need to look at in their own house before maybe lecturing me and my country on how we're doing things. Take a look inside your own house. No disrespect to Catholics. I know you're a practicing Catholic as well. I am Baptist, and I wouldn't like it if I was going into church and there's any kind of political statement whatsoever.
How do you feel about the evangelicals speaking out constantly about religion and mixing Trump,
I don't like
Trump and
it's a hard line
together?
for me. I don't like it's a hard line. Much like I'm a free speech advocate, there are hard lines in my life. The separation of church and state.
And anyway, I would say also to that argument, two wrongs don't make a right. Just because they do have a bad pedophilia scandal, which I'm assuming that they're dealing with. This is a separate issue, and they're allowed to do this.
Look, you're right.
But the church, the separation, I'm with you on that.
I am too, but on basically everything. When it comes to religious freedom and the issues of, you know, curtailing LGBTQ rights and not selling cakes to people who want to get married, and abortion. I mean, it's, you know, it's not just one issue, it's all issues. So if we're going to be separating church and state on one issue, it should be on all. Now, look, I am a non-practicing Catholic. When I go to church,
You don't have to practice. You're very good at it.
I mean, lightning could strike. But
lightning could strike.
I was raised by Sacred Heart nuns who taught us social awareness that compels to action. And the Catholic Church, and there's no boundaries, the Catholic Church has spoken very strongly on issues like immigration, on, you know, and they've asked for compassion.
In particular, can I say very quickly, the Black Church has always been very politically active. It is where people go to get registered for voting. It historically was very involved in the civil rights movement, so there hasn't been this sort of separation of church and state.
But let me just I think it's an appropriate one last thought. If the church is going to interfere with politics, they have to pay taxes. I'm sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
We'll be right back.
That's a good point.
How does outgoing Republican Congresswoman Mia Love feel about the president saying she lost because she didn't feel the Trump effect?
Mia Love gave me no love, and she lost.
She's talking back at the table next.
Gift rights.
Mia Love gave me no love, and she lost. Too bad. Sorry about that, Mia.
Well, that was President Trump's view on why the first black female Republican congresswoman in history lost one of the midterm election's biggest nail-biters. Her rival beat her by less than 1% of the votes in my home state of Utah. Please welcome outgoing Congresswoman Mia Love. You've been outspoken about President Trump before the 2016 election. You actually called on him to resign. When you heard him taunting you before your race was even over, by the way, what was going through your mind?
Well, I was surprised because, you know, I thought we had a good working relationship. I didn't think that, you know, I was supposed to just completely walk in lockstep. That wasn't my job. My job was to represent the people that sent me there to represent them. And so I found it really interesting, but I thought that comment really reflected a lot of the issues that I said when it comes to reaching out to minority communities, is that they need to feel like it's more than just transactional. They need to feel like there's a relationship there. And And I kind of felt like when he thought the race was over, even though it wasn't, we were still 2 weeks into counting, or going into counting, that it was just, he thought he didn't need me anymore, so he kind of said, well, I don't need her, so we'll just go ahead and throw her under
but he
the
said,
bus.
Mia Love lost because she didn't give me any love. It's always about
I don't
him.
know what that means.
It's always him.
But in your concession speech, you sort of mentioned, you know, what is this about? What did you think it was about? Did you think it was about race?
Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was about race. I think it was about him getting credit for the release of Joshua Holt. Joshua Holt was a young man in my district that was in Venezuela, in a Venezuelan prison. And I feel, as the President of the United States and as a representative, we should do everything we can to make sure every American knows that we're not going to abandon them. So I was doing my job, not just as a representative, but as a parent. I was doing what I thought I wanted my representative to do if that were my son. And I feel as if that was his job also. So I said thank you. I mean,
yeah.
I don't get
Not
it.
enough.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been a fan of yours for a really long time. I was really disappointed that you lost. You said in your concession speech that you're unleashed, untethered, and unshackled, and you can say exactly what's on your mind. You know, I think there's an impression sometimes that because Trump is president, that conservatives like us, our conservative beliefs just have evaporated because he's president. How do you, because I know I can't go anywhere without getting asked, how are you still a Republican? How are you still a Republican?
Right.
Where is your pathway going forward now?
Let me tell you, this is about not following a person to define yourself as a Republican or as a Democrat. I'm defined by my principles, and I'm defined by the platform. And I think that that's what we need to look away from, because there are communities that I really care about. I believe that the policies, the conservative policies work. They work for black communities. They lift people, give people as many opportunities as possible.
How?
They don't
How
keep
do they
people
do that?
trapped.
How do they do that?
I think that when you go out and you're doing everything you can to make sure that people have jobs, that they have work, that we're keeping families together.
The Democrats don't do that?
I don't believe that the policies are the same. I do not believe that the policies work. I believe, well, let's look at the welfare policies.
Leg up, gives people a leg up.
But it also disincentivizes
There are many
people.
more white people on welfare than black people.
Hang on a second. Hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second. If imagine you're a single mom and you're trying to get that manager position, you lose everything. Every single help that you have. There is no bridge. We're incentivizing bad behavior and punishing good behavior. So I think what we need to do is
your welfare status?
You lose all of it. So you're disincentivized from getting a bigger job, getting a better job.
That's not an
not
African-American issue, though.
I would say, but there are a lot of people that are in the minority communities that are feeling that. I mean, I spoke to a woman that was...
Are you for unemployment insurance? Because that saved my life as a single mother.
Well, I am for making sure that we do everything we can to give people a leg up, to let them go out and get as much work as possible, allow moms to get an education.
What about health care for everyone?
I think that health care, we need to give as much access to health care as possible. The problem that we have is we're trying to push health care and paying, not realizing that we're spending so much money on health care, thereby making it unaffordable for a lot of people to get health care. We have got to make sure we hold pharmaceutical companies accountable. We've got to bring down the cost of health care so we can give as much people access to health care as possible. But he's wanting the government to pay for all of it. And where do you get the money to pay for all of that?
Maybe we have some of the money from the wall.
Well,
let me
okay, now we're getting into a completely, wait a minute.
Let me ask you this, though.
But that we're getting into a completely different issue.
Let me ask you this.
It is how you view the role of government. You and I view it in an entirely different way than the rest of the table.
I'm a mayor. I have realized that the best solutions are found at the most local level. When you're making decisions from whether it's the White House or even in Washington, let people have a voice. And so you have got to, limited government to me doesn't mean you cut everything. Limited government means that everything's applied at the appropriate level.
Let me ask you this.
And I could do more as a mayor, trying to take care, if I had all of the resources as a mayor as opposed to making decisions.
Let me ask you this.
In Washington.
You said during your concession speech, and I don't have it verbatim, but that Republicans must embrace minorities in order to sort of increase the diversity of the Republican Party. And you mentioned that Republicans fail to take minorities into their hearts and their homes. And it almost seemed like a revelation to you. And I just ask you, because as a black Republican, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me when you have a Republican Party that's, you know, supporting a president who was a birther, Central Park 5, DOJ settlement, not letting black people run. You know, you're Haitian American. He called Haiti.
I wish I called him out for that.
Why were you so surprised by that?
Well, let me just, we're not going to let Democrats off the hook, because I was actually targeted by Democrats. They targeted me because, I need to say this, they targeted me because I am a black female Republican, and they replaced me with a middle-aged white male in the state of Utah.
Well, the voters
so there was a whole lot of money in an R+13 district that went to take me out. Look at Carlos Curbelo. They tried to get rid of every single diversity that they possibly could, and to me, diversity on the left side is good for them if you think the same way they do.
I don't agree with that. I don't think, you know, Carlos got replaced by a woman, first Ecuadorian, that's going to serve. Look, I think it's politics. I think it's about the numbers. They wanted a majority, and so if it means taking out the only black Republicans, they did. If it means taking out Curbelo, they did. I don't think to them it was targeting a, you know, black woman. But, you know, one thing you said, which to me was very interesting, you said that when Trump said, "She gave me no love," you didn't think it was about race. And actually, and something you just alluded to, for me, the issues where you most clashed with him were precisely about race. You did stand up to him and clash with him when he called Haiti an African.
You're racist.
You did slam him about ending Haitian temporary protective status, which I don't think you get enough credit for.
Okay, let me answer.
But those were race-based issues that you were clashing with him on.
To me, those are American issues. It was a right or wrong issue. It is about America, democracy at its best. And what I did was I stood up for what I believe was right and what I believe our district thought was the right thing to do. And I'll continue to voice those opinions.
Do you think he's a racist, Mia?
I'm not going to get into his head and decide
well, look at his track record.
But here's
what
issue.
he is. I'm not going to.
Here's the problem, and I do want to say this because I think it's important to have different views at this table. That is what the view is. And if you are a Republican today, I don't think every question about you should be about Trump, because Trump does not speak for every single Republican, and it's difficult today being a part of the conservative party or Republican Party.
Her. He's the one who brought it up. Who brought it up?
It's hard not to speak about Trump when he danced on her political grave, which is, you know, really offensive and disgusting for a Republican president to do about a Republican woman.
And you spoke out well about that.
Look, I am who I am. I am a Republican. I'm a conservative, but I'm not defined by the White House. I'm defined by a set of principles, and those principles lift everyone from the lowest common denominator up. I am about America. I'm a mother first and a wife, and those are the principles I'm going to live by.
Maybe when he's out of office, you can run again.
We run again.
All right. Our thanks to Congresswoman Mia Love. Thank you so much for being with us. You have the full view experience. I will tell you that. I will be right back. Table during holiday celebrations, you might catch yourself asking, how did I end up with this family? Well, now you can find out once and for all, thanks to our sponsor, Ancestry. Joy, Megan, and I gave them DNA samples, and joining us with the results is family historian Lisa Elzy. Lisa, great to have you here. So before we get into the results, because none of us know what's in those results, tell us about Ancestry and how people can do it.
Yeah, so Ancestry DNA is a saliva-based test that you order online, and then you mail in your sample. And within about 4 to 6 weeks, you'll get your ethnicity results, which comes from over 350 regions around the world, which is twice as many regions as the other DNA tests out there. You'll also receive migration pattern information about your ancestors, where they settled over time. And because Ancestry DNA connects you to people, places, and cultures of your past, it makes the perfect holiday gift this season, especially with our sale right now, which is only $59 per kit.
So let's get those results. Let's start with Joy. We often hear about your Italian roots. What do you expect?
I figure 90% Swedish. I would say there's a little Jewish and a little Sephardic Jew in there, maybe.
Okay.
The Sephardic Jewish were from the western part of Europe, and the Ashkenazi are from the eastern part, like Russia and that part.
Yeah.
So I figured Italian, Sephardic might work, and certainly African American because of where Italy is situated.
Okay.
And many people have gone through southern Italy over the many centuries.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and you're not far off. In fact, you are 92% Italy. So there's that.
You've been right all this time.
And more specifically, we have a sub-region there that's Calabria, which I believe is from your father's side.
My family's from Calabria.
Yeah, so that's listed in your DNA results.
Okay.
But on top of that, you're also 6% Turkey and Caucasus, which is in that Mediterranean region.
Caucasus?
Caucasus. Caucasus, it's hard to say.
Turkish and Caucasus.
Yeah, Turkey and Caucasus region, which includes lots of different countries in that area. And then 2% Middle East.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have a lot of that Mediterranean region there.
No Greek in there? I'm surprised there's no Greek.
Yeah, maybe, it kind of bleeds in a little bit.
So no surprises really there.
Yeah.
What about the migration?
The migration, so specifically your migrations, Italians left Italy a lot after World War I. And I believe that's when part of your family came over here, was in the 20s.
My grandfather fought in World War I for the United States.
Yeah.
But he was born in Italy, and then my whole family fought in World War II.
Yeah.
All of my uncles, my father, everybody.
Yeah, and that's exactly what your migration says, that they kind of landed in New York. So I think that's,
sure.
There you go.
Wow. A little bit Middle Eastern, though. Who knew?
Yeah, a little Middle Eastern.
All right, Megan, what about you?
This is terrible, but my family's so American in the sense that, like, my grandfather, my great-grandfather were both four-star admirals in the Navy. There's a general, John McCain, that fought in the Revolution with George Washington.
Yeah.
So I know that, like, we're, like, American through and through. So I don't even think of myself as anything other than American, which I was telling someone that last night, and they thought it was a little weird. So I actually have no idea. I assume Scottish.
Okay.
Maybe.
You're not far off either.
That's
so
all I got for you guys.
You are 62% England, Wales, and Northwestern Europe. So that's the majority of your DNA.
Ooh.
And then you have 34% Ireland and Scotland.
Okay.
So a lot of that British Isles region, which explains a lot of the American, settlers kind of thing. But we have a couple of surprises. You have 2% Norway.
Oh.
So a little bit of that Scandinavian flair. But the biggest surprises is you are 1% Native American Andean.
But really?
Really? Last surprise is 1% Senegal.
Oh, okay.
So African.
Wow,
1%
wonderful.
African.
African.
That shouldn't be that surprising, really. They say that's like where we're all from originally, where the birth of mankind started. So, but can you get to the American part? Not that that's not all wonderful, but yeah.
The migration. So yeah, specifically your migrations talk about Tennessee and the southern states. So you have a lot of south there. And yours had a subregion which went from West Tennessee to Arkansas to Texas. So it talks about that migration pattern there. But more specifically, southern states for you.
All right, I'm guessing mine is,
Thank you.
I'm guessing German, Swedish, and then half my family were Mormon pioneers. The other half were like deep south, so.
Okay. Yeah, not far off as well.
Okay.
You are 69% England, Wales, and Northwestern Europe.
Megan and I like
Yeah, you share with Megan.
Does.
Yeah. And then 16% Sweden.
Oh, that's, yeah.
There's that Swedish you were talking about. 12% Ireland and Scotland. So again, those British Isles. And then 3% Norway.
Okay.
So very much Western European.
Yeah, very similar. And then migration.
Yeah,
Any
in fact,
surprises
you
there?
had the most migrations of anyone at the table.
Ooh.
You had quite a few. In fact, most of your migrations are North Carolina and South Carolina. And what's really cool is you have a very specific subregion of North Carolina Blue Ridge Mountain settlers. It's a really small pocket in North Carolina.
I love Blue Ridge.
Yeah, and you can find.
I'm going to claim that. Is that okay?
Yes, you claim it.
I love that. All right, well, our thanks to Lisa, Elsie, and of course our thanks to our sponsor, Ancestry. And guess what? Everyone in the audience is going home with an Ancestry DNA kit. You guys will all get to do it. And we'll be right back.
Hey, it's Ruben Studdard and Clay Aiken, and we're teaming up for a brand new Christmas show right here on Broadway.
Yeah, people think we're still bitter rivals because Ruben beat me on Idol 15 years ago, but I'm so over that.
If you're over it, why you keep bringing it up all the time?
We're coming up next.
He's not over it.
My friend Clay Aiken and his former American Idol rival Ruben Studdard are joining forces to kick off a holiday tradition with their first annual Christmas Carol Family Fun Pageant Spectacular Reunion Show. Please welcome Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard. Yes!
We have no better cheerleader.
I love it. I love it.
All right, you guys met 15 years ago, obviously, on American Idol. You've been close friends ever since. How did you get the idea for this Broadway show?
You know, I had seen Ruben perform on his Luther tour back in April, and I hadn't sung for a while. And I saw him perform, and he was so good in it, and it started making me miss her singing a little bit. And we looked back at the fact that we had sung on this show in 2016, I think, together, Christmas, and thought, okay, that's what we should do. We should do something Christmas. And it kind of snowballed from there. So The View has something to do with why we started
Thank
doing
you.
it.
And Ruben, I understand it's just not singing, right?
Absolutely
it's a little
not.
bit more.
We're doing we're recreating like the classic variety show tradition. So we're just having a good time. You know, like Carol Burnett, all those people that, you know, preceded us in funny.
Ruben's very funny.
Oh.
I can make you laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
A couple of jokes.
I've gotten to see a little bit of previews, too, because we're good friends. It's awkward interviewing you. I'm sorry. But what do you both love about performing live?
I love, especially with him, it's just that it comes so natural. Like, he and I have just this really good banter with one another, and I love being on stage with him, but I love singing. I love performing. I like to see people having a good time. So
it's nice to get feedback immediately, you know? And we've both done tape stuff. You've both done tape stuff.
Yeah.
You kind of see it. You see it 3 weeks later. The audience gets it. It's nice to hear that response right away. And the nice thing about doing 8 shows a week on Broadway with this great cast is it's kind of new every single night. So
That's right.
That's fun for us.
All right, are you guys ready? Here to perform the Holy Nights on their Broadway show. Give it up for Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard!
Holy night, the stars are brightly shining. This is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine.
so much, and thank you all of you. All right, Ruben and Clay's Christmas show has a limited 3-week run starting tonight through December 30th at the Imperial Theater on Broadway. And great news, members of our audience are all going home with them. We'll be right back.
Peppermint mochas for Leah?
Monday, will the next presidential election be a battle of the billionaires? For the first time on daytime TV, the man who turned the tide in the midterm elections, Michael Bloomberg, is talking about whether he'll take on Trump in 2020. Plus, Oscar and Emmy winner Aaron Sorkin. And it's one-stop holiday shopping on View Your Deal.
So, before we go, we have a minute to talk for a second. So I was wondering, you know, since we just heard Oh Holy Night, what's your favorite Christmas song?
Oh, This Christmas.
How does
It's
that
called
go?
This Christmas.
I never heard
And
of it.
this Christmas will be a very special Christmas.
How many people recognize
for
that
me?
song?
Hang all the mistletoe.
Okay. I don't know.
Sonny, I could see why you're on The View and not on Broadway.
Exactly.
I did love you.
I have two myself. One is Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. That's a good one.
That's sad.
Donald got run over by a reindeer. And then the other one is the one that Darlene Love sings, which I can't remember the name of it again.
It's
Christmas Baby, Please Come Home. She's coming on next week.
That's a good one.
I love when she comes. We do Christmas. That's a fabulous one.
That's a good one.
Which
Mine's Feliz Navidad, which makes you laugh so hard. It's my favorite.
That's a good one.
So fun.
Anna?
Right, so fun.
I love Little Drummer Boy, and I love it in English. I love it in Spanish. Exactly.
Okay, yours?
Mine is Baby It's Cold Outside because the PC police need to take a seat.
Oh.
It's my favorite song.
Okay, before we go, we want to remind our viewers that today marks the 77th anniversary of the day that will live in infamy, the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Remember that. Our men went to war over that. Have a great day, everyone, and take a little time to enjoy the view.
I was going to go to school for nursing. I got in the wreck.